Hi there. Last night I watched a speech by a guy named John Lennox. This guy is very well educated and very intelligent, but the particular form of Christianity that he spoke out for, I must say I'm not really fond of that. It is far better than bigoted fundamentalism, but to me he came across as quite the con artist, trying to defend all kinds of bullshit. The speech is over 1 hour long, and I'm not going to transcribe it and analyze it in detail, but as I listened to it, there was red flags waving in my head all through the speech. This guy was phenomenal when it comes to hiding your straw manning and your fallacies under jargon, making the whole thing sound reasonable and polite, when you're actually replacing your opponents with some really twisted idiot version of them, while just dancing around what you're talking about, shifting definitions constantly. It's this thing I've been talking about in my 5x3 model, the third level, the linguistic or discursive one, that we have to distinguish between words, concepts, and the thing in itself. And we have to be very clear about what we mean on each level, having a clear line, not having it muddled. There was two main problems with Lennox speech from my perspective, beside all the straw manning and the whole building of narrative where everybody who isn't a Christian is a shallow, stupid idiot who can't understand anything, etc., 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 which he very politely uh, built. And with politely, um, I mean in a kindly passive aggressive manner that makes it sound polite, but it's really rather vicious. So, besides that, there are two main problems from my point of view. First of all, he treats Christianity as a monolith, talking about what we Christians believe and not believe. And I'm sure it's very seductive for Christians to listen to this guy. Like I said, he has very good academical merits, professor, etc., etc., and he kind of gives the impression that we Christians are professors with very high IQ and very nuanced worldview and so on. I am a professor and I'm a Christian. Therefore, if you are a Christian, you are a professor. This is not something that he says outright, of course. That would expose how silly it is. But it is the air he gives off. It is the general feel of his position. And this is his main argument against atheists. Atheists, active atheists that is, tend to focus on those Christians who are not so nuanced and not so enlightened. Some of them do have this prejudice that all Christians are really like that, which is bullshit. Others simply say that, but those Christians who aren't like that are not a problem. So I'm focusing on the Christians that are a problem, because those are the ones that needs to be talked about. Either way, um, active atheists, when talking about Christians, tend to talk about fundamentalist bigots who believe the Bible to be literal truth in one way or another, which is very destructive. And Lennox dismisses that with, oh, but that's not what Christians believe, and Christians don't believe in the God of the gaps, and so on. And Lennox, you are not all Christians. There are other Christians like you out there, but there are also a lot of Christians like the ones that the so-called new atheists and so on are criticizing. Pretending that those Christians don't exist is total bullshit. The other big problem is a combination of two things, and this is where he's dancing around the third level of the 5x3 model comes into its most brightest light, and this is where he fails the second level of the 5x3 model as well. The thing is this: he talks about the universe, he accepts it's two things, okay? Neither of them is a problem in itself. It is the combination of them that is a problem, so bear with me for a moment. Okay, first of all, he talks about the universe. He accepts that there are so many stars in this galaxy and so many galaxies in the universe. And he claims that a god, a supreme being, could have created all that. And so far so good. And then he starts talking about M theory, which is a very interesting theory. I will link a documentary about that, as well as Lennox speech in the low bar. To put it shortly, M theory states that there are probably an untellable number of universes with different laws of physics and so on. Very interesting theory. And Lennox goes on to say that, oh, but if M theory is true and this universe has come into existence through the interaction between universes, and we have a Big Bang as part of this whole multiverse system and so on, then a god, then no, he doesn't say a god, he say then God could have created the multiverse. And again, no problem. We can imagine that there is some kind of supreme being who has created the multiverse. But we have to realize what kind of scale we're talking about here. Humans are extremely small compared to the Earth. The Earth is extremely small compared to the solar system. The solar system is extremely small compared to the galaxy. The galaxy compared to the galaxy cluster. The galaxy cluster compared to the universe. And then the universe compared to the multiverse. And on each such level, when I say extremely small, I mean like a grain of sand, not in a bottle of sand, but a grain of sand on all the beaches of this planet. Very small. Can't be distinguished at all. We need to distinguish between physical reality, internal reality, and social reality. In your own internal reality, you are the center of the universe, and that is the way it should be. You can also let your internal reality revolve around someone you are in love with or something like that. That has it has its advantages and drawbacks. And we have social reality, which we build between us. And in all social realities, we, mankind, are the center of our own social universe. Different local parts of humanity may be the center of a specific subset of this some of the local social realities, but whatever. Either way, when it comes to internal and social reality, we can forget about the universe and we don't need to feel small. We are important to each other. There's really nothing to angst about. But when we talk about the universe, we are nothing. When we talk about the galaxy, we are nothing. In fact, when we talk about the universe, our galaxy is nothing. And when we talk about the multiverse, our universe is nothing. So, okay, there's no problem with Lennox talking about God creating the multiverse, as long as we talk about God being some unfathomable being. And Lennox does that. He talks about this God that can't be understood, etc., etc. And that's fine. But then the other shoe drops when he starts talking about Genesis and makes it very clear to all of us that this God that he's talking about is a human. The God he's talking about, I would say that this God was created in our image. Of course, Lennox has it the other way, that it was humans and nothing but humans that were created in God's image. In other words, humans are the center of this planet, and I can agree with that. But according to Lennox, what he's actually saying, according to what he is saying, we humans on this little planet, we are the center of the universe, the entire universe, not just the planet or the galaxy. And if there is a multiverse, then this little mankind on this little planet, in this little galaxy, in this little galaxy cluster, in this little universe, is the center of the multiverse. Come on! How egocentric can you get? How much bullshit can you get? And this bullshit is totally socially competent. Lennox is doing a very good job of making people feel good about themselves. However, it's also intellectually dishonest. I'm not sure if he's working on fooling himself or if he's calculated fooling other people. for various reasons. But in either case, I'm left with a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And, well, Lennox is still the kind of Christian I can respect. He's not fighting for prejudice and bigotry and so on. However, he still leaves his audience with an impression that all Christians are smarter and more valuable than all non-Christians. And that is a perfect basis, perfect pedestal to put your prejudice and bigotry on. People can just do another linguistic discursive switch, just like Lennox himself did regarding the nature of God. They can do that with their own prejudices. Lennox gives us that by definition Christianity is not in opposition to science, or the other way around. Science and Christianity are totally compatible, and Christianity is by definition not narrow-minded or bigoted or whatever. And that's okay, as long as we're talking about a kind of Christianity that isn't opposed to science, isn't bigoted, etc., etc. But when we're talking about one monolithic Christianity, it is very easy for these people to say that, well, I'm a Christian, I believe that atheists and homosexuals and so on are inferior to me. I believe that I'm personally the center of the universe. The creator of the universe or the multiverse listens to me personally and obeys the instructions that I give in my prayers. Or my own opinions are not my own opinions. No, no, no. If you disagree with me, you will have to take it up with the entire multiverse. You see, because I'm a Christian, the entire multiverse, by definition, agrees with whatever I'm saying at the moment. And then just adds to this bullshit that, oh, and because I'm a Christian, Lennox has declared that this cannot possibly be self-serving prejudice and bigotry and so on, because that's not what it means. Ugh! Just dancing around with the definitions, building a narrative to feel good about yourself at other people's expense. So these things I've been talking about lately with narrativization and narrativism. Narrativization being building a story about stuff. Yourself, the world, your place in the world, and so on. And narrativism being letting this narrative take over, so you blind yourself to facts that don't fit your narrative, or you stop treating your fellow human beings as fellow human beings, instead treating them as narrative tools. Would I say that what Lennox is doing is narrativization or narrativism? Well, I would point out that these things are not either or. It is not either narrativization or narrativism. When you're building a narrative, you're always somewhere on a sliding scale between unproblematic narrativization, and destructive narrativism. I would say that on the whole, Lennox is leaning more towards narrativization than towards narrativism, but he does it in a way that invites narrativism, and this is very problematic. So that's all I have to say for this time. Live long and prosper.